Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter. In South Seattle, Washington, a 19-year-old steps out of her apartment on a spring evening. She isn't leaving town. She isn't going far. She's headed to see a coworker who lives in the same complex. Just a short walk, just a few minutes. From there, the plan is to go to a party, but she never makes it to that meeting. And somewhere between her front door and another unit in that same complex, the timeline stops. For years, there are few answers, until decades later, investigators return to the case, asking for the public's help in understanding what happened that night. This is the story of Virginia Anne Rambus. Virginia Anne Rambus, who went by Anne, was 19 years old in May of 1985. She was living in the Skyway area of South Seattle. She worked as a stalker for Host International. That evening, she had plans. She is expected to meet a coworker before heading to a party. Nothing about that night stands out. No known warning signs, no known indication that anything is wrong. She leaves her apartment sometime that evening, likely between 7 and 8 o'clock p.m. And after that, she is never seen again. When Anne doesn't arrive, there is no clear answer for why. She doesn't check in. She doesn't come back. Minutes pass. Then more time passes. And as the night goes on, the concern starts to build. Something isn't right. Hours pass with no word. There are no confirmed sightings of her after that evening, no public reports of a struggle, and no indication of what went wrong. Just a timeline that ends without an explanation. The details around her disappearance are limited, but what is known has remained consistent over time. Anne was last seen wearing a white pullover sweater, jeans, and black cowboy boots. That is the last confirmed description of her. She never arrives at the party, and she has never been found. Over the years, investigators have said they believe foul play is involved, but without a clear witness account or physical evidence made public, the case remains open. For years, the case grows quiet. Public updates become rare. No major breakthroughs. And then, decades later, investigators return to the case. In 2012, they asked for the public's help regarding a man who lived in the same complex as Anne. A man who may have crossed paths with her. His name is Jesse Pratt. Some people knew him as, quote, the Candyman. By the time investigators publicly identify him, Jesse Pratt is already serving a life sentence in Oregon for murder. Investigators say he lived in the same complex as Anne at the time of her disappearance and may have known her or been familiar with her. They also point to a vehicle investigators linked to him, a yellow 1978 Cadillac Eldorado. In 2012, detectives asked anyone who remembers seeing that car or anything unusual around the complex back in 1985 to come forward. But even after asking for the public's help, authorities have not announced any charges in Anne's case. And they have not publicly named Jessie Pratt as a suspect in her disappearance. Instead, the focus remains on filling in the gaps, understanding who was there, who may have crossed paths with Anne that night, and what might have happened in that small window of time when she was last seen. But as of now, those answers have not been found. Anne Rambus has been missing for decades now. Her case remains unsolved. Investigators say someone may still have information about what happened that night. Even those few minutes may hold the answers. Virginia Anne Rambus has never been found. No arrests have been made. No one has been held accountable for her disappearance. What happened in those moments after she left her apartment? Who may have crossed paths with her? And how does someone disappear in the middle of a short walk inside a place she knew? Our thoughts remain with Anne Rambus's family and loved ones. As we close out this episode, sharing her story helps keep the search for answers going. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the King County Sheriff's Office. Contact details are included in the show notes. For more cases and updates, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. If there's a story you believe deserves attention, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.